This is KGW News at Sunrise.
And good morning. Thanks for getting up with us on this Sunday morning. I'm Tim Gordon. This morning on Sunrise, we are tracking investigations into 2 Saturday night shootings in Portland. What we've learned so far. Plus, as Portland looks for answers to the homeless crisis, what can be learned from across the river in Vancouver? But before we get to all that, let's check in with Chris McGinnis for that Sunday forecast. Good morning, Chris.
Good Sunday morning to you, and thank you everyone for joining us. Waking up to a little smattering of green on the map here. We've got some showers here and there, and of course snow in the higher terrain of the Cascades right now. Snow levels this morning, by the way, around 3,000 feet, but they will steadily lower as we go through the day today. All right, right now it's 43 degrees last check at PDX, light west wind at 8, and elsewhere across the region waking up to 40 in Beaverton, 40 King City, Hillsborough sits at 38. The wide look here across the state, believe it or not, that 30 in Baker City is significantly warmer than you were yesterday at this time. 23 right now in Birds. That's one of the colder spots on the map. All right, the plan for today, lots of cloud cover, occasional showers, and the temperatures really aren't going very far. We're in the mid-40s right now here in Portland. I think we top out at about 46, and those occasional showers linger into this afternoon and tomorrow, with good snow still flying in the Cascades and the Coast Range. Tim, I want to highlight that and a transition to some much colder weather next week. All of that in my 7-day forecast in a few minutes.
Okay, thanks a lot, Chris. We will see you soon. Well, new this morning, it has been a very busy night for homicide detectives in Portland. 2 major shootings will have people asking questions for some time now. First up, 6 people were hit in a shooting near Normandale Park in Northeast Portland. Officers responded to the intersection of Northeast 55th and Hasalo just after 8 o'clock last night. One of the victims, a woman, died at the scene. Now, the other 5 victims were taken to nearby hospitals. Now, we don't have any other updates on their conditions. In fact, most details are still scarce right now. But we do know detectives have 2 people in custody this morning. On Markham Hill in southwest Portland, police shot and killed a suspect. Confirmed details are also scarce right now. However, neighbors tell us a man in an apartment building was shooting a gun out of the building at the street below. Police confirmed there was a shelter-in-place order around that area at the time. The neighbors said police showed up and the man left the apartment building shooting at officers, and the police shot back. That man was killed. Again, no officers were hit.
Anytime a missing child case goes quiet, it's dangerous.
Well, nearly 12 years later, it remains one of the most talked about cases in recent memory. Kyron Horman's mother wants investigators to create a task force focused on his disappearance. The 7-year-old vanished from Skyline Elementary School in Northwest Portland back in June of 2010. Saturday, Kyron's mom, Desiree Young, and about a dozen supporters rallied in front of the Multnomah County DA Mike Schmidt's office. She wants Schmidt to create a task force to review evidence, revisit old witnesses, and create a strategy for cracking the case. No charges have ever been filed, despite continued focus by investigators on Kyron's stepmother, Terry Horman. She dropped Kyron off at school the day he disappeared, but has long denied any wrongdoing. Smith still believes she was somehow involved.
We want Terry to know that we're still here fighting for Kyron, and she's not going to win.
Well, Young says she's been trying to set up a face-to-face meeting with the DA for months, but that hasn't happened. In a statement, DA Schmidt says, "My heart goes out to Kyron's family and the dedicated and compassionate community they have built around his disappearance. To date, this case is open, and we remain committed to investigating new facts and evidence should either surface." Well, Portland police and Crime Stoppers are asking for your help to solve a different case. This one is a 10-year-old case, it's a cold case. And back in 2012, Portland police responded to a shooting outside the Grand Central Restaurant and Bowling Lounge near Southeast Morrison and 8th. That's where they found Robert Green dead at the scene. Police say they know witnesses saw what happened, and they want them to come forward. Now, you can submit a tip anonymously at crimestoppersoforegon.com. and you could be eligible for a cash reward in that case. Well, now to our homeless crisis. Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler says he has yet another new plan to help get the homeless off the city streets in Portland. It involves large outdoor camping areas and is already controversial. Vancouver has had more success with dedicated places for people living outside, but still, it's not always the right fit for everyone. Art Edwards met a woman in that situation. Here's her story.
For the last 4 years, Shelley Wong has been living in her 1986 pickup truck. She's done what she can to make it comfortable, including installing a bed and a heater. But it's not where she wants to be. Wong lives in Vancouver, is on disability, and gets $900 a month.
I am a 52-year-old single disabled woman. I can't rent an apartment for $900 a month. I can't. It's about affordable housing. There's not affordable housing. And if there is, there's a lack of, because why am I on the streets alone?
She says she's reached out for help.
I got a hold of a few agencies in the Vancouver local area, and there's no openings anywhere. There's just no openings.
A count in January 2020 estimated 916 people were without housing in Clark County. There are housing options provided by the city of Vancouver. There's a safe parking zone with over 50 spaces for cars and RVs at the Evergreen Transit Center. Wong parked there for a while. In December, a safe stay community opened that can accommodate up to 40 people. Next week, public hearings are scheduled on another site on Mill Plain Road the city would like to open in the spring. A city spokesman said Vancouver would like to open a third location in the fall. But Wong says the safe stay communities are not for her. She wants something more permanent.
I would like to be in an apartment that I could afford and live a normal life. I'm embarrassed every day when I crawl out of the back of my truck and I think people that live around where my truck is parked are like, oh, there's a homeless person. I'm not a drug addict. I'm not homeless by choice.
Wong believes the city is making progress. She just hopes it leads to a change in her living situation soon. Art Edwards, KGW News.
Well, if you've driven the interstates or highways lately, you've probably been shocked at the fast and aggressive drivers out there. It seems like it's been on the increase. Now, this holiday weekend, Oregon State Police are stepping up patrols to cut down on that. Troopers are also looking for drivers under the influence. While the high visibility operation is taking place mostly on the interstates, troopers say they see more dangerous driving when the weather gets nicer. Oregon State Police say they've seen an increase in the number of road rage incidents and driving complaints recently. Troopers say you'll be fine if you remember a few things.
It's speeding, so slow down. Occupant safety, put on your seatbelt. Lane usage, so stay in your lane, watch your turns. We have a lot of fatals from people just making improper turns and just bad passes, places that they're not supposed to be. So that lane usage, impaired driving, don't drive if you're intoxicated, if you're impaired, if buzz driving is drunk driving, and distracted driving. Stay off your phone, quit playing with your radio.
A lot of good advice there. OSP says if you see people doing dangerous things on the roads, call 911 if it's an emergency. You can also dial star 677. That will take you directly to a police dispatcher. Well, like so many other industries, the Oregon wine industry is dealing with supply chain issues and worker shortages. It was one of the topics at a virtual conference this week. Bryant Clerkley talked with the general manager of a winery who has a lot of concerns.
So we're really seeing the effects of packaging and transportation right now. The wines were made, and then now you got to put them in a bottle. You got to get the glass. You got to get the corks. You have to get the capsules. Those things are, in some instances, twice as much as they were 2 years ago.
Jeff Lewis with Alexana Vineyard and Winery in Newburgh is one of the speakers at the virtual Oregon Wine Symposium this week. He'll speak about some of the issues the industry is facing in 2022, including supply chain inflation and worker shortages. Lewis says there's still a lot of demand for wine, but there's just not as much stock as there was pre-pandemic.
I think you're going to see a lot of those. Around 10-15% increases in a lot of situations. And some people are going to be able to hold their price points just to maintain that, unique position within a market where they're competitive. But yeah, for a lot of us, I think our $55 bottles are going to be $60.
The Oregon Wine Symposium has been happening for 20 years. It brings leaders across the industry together to network and talk about the challenges. Tom Danowski is the executive director of the Oregon Wine Board. He says winemakers are trying to balance these inflation issues.
Yes, inflation is a concern, and I know a lot of wineries are being very, very cautious in trying to cover their increasing costs of production, but not create too much of a barrier to trial and experimentation that has benefited Oregon so much in the past.
Lewis says winemakers are going to have to get creative in the future because the product is becoming more expensive to produce.
I think you're going to see some innovative packaging solutions too. I think people are going to really reimagine like what kind of label they're using. Do I need to use capsules?
Bryant Clerkley reporting there. Well, capsules are those decorative wraps on the neck of the bottle, go over the top of the cork, and those can add to the cost for sure. As for wine prices going up, Jeff Lewis says it's already happening at Alexana. They're charging a couple dollars more for certain bottles. We'll be right back.